Hello everyone, my name is Brant Kudrowski and I'd like to welcome you to Chem 334, Organic Chemistry 2 Lab in fall semester 2020 at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. I will be your lab instructor this semester, and this is the first of several informational videos that'll cover policies and operations in the course. There'll be other videos that follow in the course Canvas site linked through Canvas that will cover labs, experiments, and procedures and those sorts of things. This is the first of several, and I would just like to say welcome, and I look forward to working with you this semester. Before we start talking about Organic Chemistry Lab, I should tell you a little bit about what organic chemistry is. It is the study of the structure and behavior of carbon-based molecules. So you might wonder, why carbon? It's a big periodic table. Well, carbon is a great building block for molecules. It forms 4 strong bonds with itself and many other atoms. Carbon can also adopt 3 different shapes. That adds to its versatility. And that leads to countless different possible combinations for molecules that can be made by connecting carbon and other atoms in the periodic table. This in turn leads to an incredible potential for molecular diversity, and the natural world contains millions of organic carbon-based molecules with unique structures, shapes, and properties. And in this course, we are going to get an introduction to this type of chemistry and start to learn about these molecules. They are literally everywhere in the world when you start knowing where to look for them. They're present in the foods we eat. They're present in the fuels we use to power our vehicles and heat our homes. They're in the plastics that we use for packaging and products that we use every day. They're in fabrics and clothes that we wear. They're in the drugs that we use to keep ourselves healthy. They're in dyes and pigments that make our world more colorful, and flavors and fragrances that make the world more interesting. This is just a basic general introduction and not at all a comprehensive list. The world is full of organic molecules and they are interesting. And in this lab course, we are going to get started learning about some of the properties of these molecules and some of the techniques we can use to study them. On this slide, we'll get an introduction to Chem 334, Organic Chemistry 2 Lab. Chem 334, the Organic Chemistry 2 Lab, is a 1-credit class that's closely related to Chem 335. That's the associated lecture course. The lecture course is worth 3 credits. They're very closely related, but they are separate courses. Each has its own syllabus, its own course policies and grading scheme. This is different from general chemistry, where you got 1 grade for both the lecture and the lab components. Prerequisites for the course include completion of Chem 234, that's Organic Chemistry 1 Lab, and Chem 235, that's Organic Chemistry 1 Lecture with grades of C or better. Also, concurrent enrollment in Chem 335, Organic Chemistry 2 Lecture, or previous completion of Chem 335 with a grade of C or better. When you're taking 334 and 335 together, you won't be able to drop one course component without dropping the other, so just keep that in mind as you move through the semester. Here are some learning objectives for the course. Upon completion of Chem 334, you will be able to perform fundamental experimental techniques in organic chemistry. Examples include distilling mixtures, recrystallizing solids, operating chemical instruments, separating mixtures using chromatography, and many others. You'll be able to collect and interpret experimental data, record your results, and submit reports. You'll be able to solve chemical problems describing the structure and behavior of molecules. This overlaps nicely with the lecture course, Chem 335. You'll also be able to use organic chemistry to explain certain aspects of the natural world. Some examples include, what organic compounds give cloves their distinctive odor and taste? How can the structure of an unknown molecule be identified and determined? What reactions can form carbon-carbon bonds? And many, many others. The format of the course is described on this page. We're going to be using a modified tutorial format with attendance modulation. Now, those terms essentially mean that some of the course meetings are going to be face-to-face while others are online. Every other week, the course is going to meet in person to physically carry out an experiment in the lab, so you'll actually show up to a lab where you actually physically do a lab in the laboratory. And online experiments and activities will be planned for the weeks when we aren't meeting in person. The course syllabus will have a detailed schedule describing the dates of the in-person experiments and the online experiments. On this slide, I'm going to talk about the people teaching the course. This semester, it's just me, Brant Kudrowski. I'll be the course coordinator and the instructor, and I teach all of the lab sections. There are 2. I will set the curriculum, create the syllabus, and organize the schedule. I'll maintain the Canvas course site and the online homework site. I'll post videos and other content for the entire class. I will work with you in in-person courses, sessions, and I'll grade your assignments and answer your questions. If you have any questions about the course of any type, contact me. Here we're going to describe some attendance policies that are associated with the modified tutorial format of the course. Attendance at in-person course meetings is required, with some exceptions. This is different than the HighFlex course format that you might be using in one of your other courses. In the HighFlex model, you can choose which days you attend courses in person, and anytime you want, you can switch back and forth between online and in-person versions of the course. In the lab this semester, in the modified tutorial format, you're expected to come to all in-person class meetings, except under the following circumstances. Here are some exceptions. If you are in a high-risk health group and don't feel safe attending in-person labs, you can request to take the course 100% online by September 4th. If you decide later that you need to switch to taking the course 100% online sometime during the semester or after that September 4th date, this request then needs to go through the Dean of Students' office for approval. If you happen to get sick or are quarantined, you'll continue to take the course online until you can safely return to in-person classes. Just email me at the email address shown here to coordinate this. And finally, and this is very important, please don't come to lab if you're sick. You can contact me or your instructor by email. We'll find an alternative method for you to take that particular lab online, but please stay home if you're sick. We have some special safety precautions that we're going to be taking this semester as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, I want to say that protecting the health and safety of students and instructors is our top priority in this course. Nothing's more important than that. And we've taken several precautions to help make the lab as safe a place as possible. Here's what we're going to be doing. First of all, we have personal protective equipment, PPE, that we'll be using. That'll include masks, goggles, and gloves. We're going to be working in a lab with strong ventilation from the fume hoods, and this will help reduce exposure to respiratory droplets. So the lab is actually one of the safer places to be indoors on campus. Then we're also going to be practicing some physical distancing policies, and those are going to limit close contact with classmates, which should also help prevent the spread of the virus. Some of the specific physical distancing policies are listed on this slide. We're going to have 6 feet of space between students provided while you're in the lab. And the way we're going to do this is that all 18 students are going to meet during the same weeks for in-person labs. So on a given week, if it's an in-person lab week, everyone will show up, but we'll be spread out over 2 lab rooms, room HS454 and room HS455 in Halsey Science. And these 2 rooms are connected, so that'll effectively cut the density of the course in half. You're going to be assigned a lab space with a lab computer in one of these 2 rooms that is physically distanced from other students. You'll have your own workspace and your own computer, and that'll be apart from other students. All in-person labs are going to be carried out individually this coming semester, so there's no lab partners that you'll need to get close to converse with or share data with. And common areas around things like balances and instruments will have a taped off space around them, and one person at a time will be in that space using that particular piece of equipment. This is pretty similar to what you're probably already seeing as you go to stores and things, standing in line for checkouts and such, where they've got spaces cordoned off for one person at a time to use a particular space. Finally, we'll be doing office hours virtually, either by email or video meeting. I'm going to be using Collaborate Ultra, which can be accessed directly through the Canvas site. Here are some instructions for how to navigate the course. All content and activities and assignments will be posted through the course Canvas site. Canvas is going to be your go-to place for navigating the course. You can log into Canvas through https://uwosh.instructure.com. The course syllabus and lab manual will be posted in Canvas and will be available for downloading and printing if you'd like a hard copy. You're welcome to print and bring a hard copy of the lab manual, but you don't necessarily have to because you'll have access to it virtually on a computer that's in the lab and networked. Having a hard copy is up to you. All course activities are going to be organized around experiments that we'll be carrying out each week, and these experiments will either be in person or virtually, depending on the week. Every other week it'll be an in-person experiment, and then on alternating weeks there'll be virtual online experiments. Each experiment is going to have its own module on the Canvas course site, and you just need to follow through the readings, videos, and assignments that are posted in each module for that particular experiment to work your way through the course. Getting help. Contact me, Brant Kudrowski, at kedrowsk@uwosh.edu if you are experiencing any difficulties that are impacting your ability to succeed in the course that are related to technology. This would be issues such as computer hardware or software problems, internet access problems or data limitations, access to Canvas or use of the Canvas site, access to saplinglearning.com or use of saplinglearning.com. Basically, I don't want you to struggle with this. If you have technology problems, I can help you solve them. You should also contact me if you have questions about course policies, content, or assignments this semester. I will help you with those as well. We also have a Dean of Students office. They will provide assistance for students with personal and emergency situations. They also coordinate accommodations for students with disabilities. You can visit their website at the link shown here, or for additional information, you can call their number, which is also listed. We have a counseling center that is free and confidential for students to use. If you would like to use the counseling center, you can visit their website, which is shown here, or you can call them for additional information. The University Police can also be a resource if you have a non-emergency crime you need to report. Bias incidents can also be reported to University Police at the website shown here. I've included a statement on inclusivity and respect for diversity in the syllabus, and I'm going to read it here. I believe that the scientific community is strengthened by the diversity of its members in areas including race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender identity, sexuality, and socioeconomic class. I'm especially committed to increasing the participation and success of those populations that are underrepresented in chemistry or historically marginalized in higher education. My goal is to provide a learning environment that promotes inclusivity and is respectful of diversity. If you experience any problems with inclusivity or respect for diversity from anywhere in our learning community, please let me know. Brant Kudrowski at my email address shown here. I will work to correct the problem. And I really do mean this. I've worked in the McNair program over several summers here at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, mentoring students from underrepresented groups, and it's been a very rewarding experience. So I really do believe in this and feel strongly that everyone should be included. This section deals with academic honesty, integrity, and fairness. Students are responsible for the honest completion and representation of their work, for the appropriate citation of sources, and for respect of others' academic endeavors. These responsibilities are described in UW System Administrative Code Section 14.03. Students who violate these standards will be confronted and must accept the consequences of their actions as outlined in UW System Regulations Section 14-04. Some examples of academic misconduct or areas where students could get into trouble are, for example, copying the answers of other students or allowing another student to copy their answers for things like quizzes, homework, notebook, and lab assignments, and those sorts of things. I encourage students to work together in the course to help each other and to learn from each other, but you just need to make sure that everybody is contributing and learning. When people get into trouble, it's usually that they take shortcuts and fail to meet the requirements listed above. So that brings us to the end of this introduction video. In subsequent videos, we'll be talking more about course content and the nuts and bolts of grading and assignments and that sort of thing. But I just want to take this opportunity to again thank you for watching and welcoming you to the course, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming semester. Stay tuned to Canvas for more course videos and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel.